What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego. Wow, back with some more boxing. Just finished watching the Mikkel Kessler versus Carl Froch fight live from the UK, and man, it was fireworks. I liked it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. You can definitely mention in the same breath with their first encounter. It's really true what they say. Styles make fights. You get the fucking Gotti versus Wars, the Brandon Rios versus Alvarado, the Carl Froches versus Kessler, and it's like these two, when you add them up, Pacquiao, Marquez, when you add these two fighters up, whoever they are, it just makes fireworks each and every time, and it brings the best out of both fighters. So I got a lot of stuff that I'm working on. I will try to make this quick, and I'm going to talk a little fast and run through what I thought of the fight round by round, and give you my overall synopsis of what I saw. So round one, Kessler, he looked calm, cool, collected. Froch looked to me a little bit jittery, and it was pretty much an even round. I would say Kessler landed less, but he picked more precise shots, whereas Froch had a higher work rate. And so just depending on how you score it, you could have given it to either fighter, the busier fighter or the fighter who picked his shots and landed more accurate shots. Round two, Froch picked up his aggression. He landed a significant right hand, and it looked like Kessler was significantly or slightly affected by that. Both fighters were exchanging. There were some rabbit punches. Round three, very good action. Froch was looking more comfortable, and you could see this is where the fight starts working, and he's controlling the pace of the fight. Kessler started using his jab a lot more, which I thought he should do throughout the entire fight, and he landed some good body shots. Again, something I think instead of doing it in spots, he should have tried to do throughout the fight. Round four, Froch using his jab, he used it a lot, and he was keeping Kessler at the end of his punches. Kessler landed some good hard power punches. Again, Kessler had lower activity, and he picked it up towards the end of the round. It appears to me that Kessler was waiting and trying to maybe get the timing right for Carl Froch. But the thing is, Carl Froch is a rangy kind of fighter. He has his hands down low. He's like a herky-jerky type. Similar to a Vic Darchinyan. I wouldn't say as herky-jerky as Vic Darchinyan, but sometimes when Carl Froch is fighting, it looks rather sloppy. And to try to time somebody like that, try to get that rhythm down is going to be hard. So sometimes you have to just go for the gusto, and you can't really rely on that, especially when you have someone who's awkward in their movements and how they come in and have a chin. Carl Froch definitely has a chin. Round six, it was a good round. It starts with the Kessler low blow. The referee separates both fighters and warns Kessler for the low blow. And then when they're told to resume the action, Kessler landed a beautiful big shot that appeared to have Carl Froch buzzed. Round seven, very high action. Both fighters did good. They were swinging for the fences over the entirety. I would say Kessler landed the harder shots, although Froch had a good number of power shots as well. So I would have given that round to Kessler. Round eight was a huge round, especially coming off of the heels of round seven. Huge round for Carl Froch. He landed some monstrous power shots, a higher activity level. Kessler landed some good shots, some good counters as well. It was very back and forth, but again, Kessler had lower activity. And this was the tone of the whole story. Kessler, to me, he was just always waiting. It's like he was waiting for the perfect storm. He was waiting for the perfect shot. And he always, for the most part, except for a couple spots, and these are the rounds that I gave him, he picked up his intensity level. And other than that, he had the lower activity level. And Carl Froch was outworking him and landing good shots. Round nine, very even, pretty even. Froch was busier. Round 10, it's a slower round for both fighters. I think both of them may have started to fatigue, so they're getting a little rest. Round 11, Kessler, that's a Kessler round. I mean, it looks like he was hurting Froch. Froch may be fatiguing. Maybe it was both. I don't know what it was, but this was a good round for Kessler. He showed that he was still game, still in the fight, still had heart, still had power, and he didn't lose so much steam off his punches to the point where he couldn't hurt Froch, because it looked like Froch was starting to tire or get hurt. But Froch didn't lay down. He continued fighting back, even though I gave Kessler the round. And then round 12 is what rounds are made of. I mean, they gave it everything they had. The guys were swinging for the fence. It's like the beginning of this round, Kessler, I would say he was in control of the beginning half, And then Carl Froch, he just closed the show, and it looked like he could even have stopped Kessler, possibly. So it was rough. It was a brutal fight. They were fighting like savages in certain spots. It was just a lot of back and forth action, tug of war, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So that's really the prediction, or excuse me, not my prediction. That's really my post fight analysis. Good fight. I recorded it. I'll probably watch it again. Both fighters showed that they have heart. Both fighters are warriors. In my opinion, Kessler, he did something that a lot of fighters do, and it cost him in the end. During the stretch of a 12-round fight, you can't allow your opponent to rack up points and then try to rally late. This is not like other sports like basketball, where you could just have a really good rally in the third or fourth quarter and tie up the score and then force overtime or even beat your opposing team. This is boxing. So if you get too behind on the scorecards, you're going to put yourself in a predicament where you have to knock your opponent out. Um, and that just becomes difficult. And I think Kessler, he just got off to a slow start, similar to if you watch the Andre Berto versus Robert Guerrero, another back and forth good fight. And Andre Berto had a very slow start. He was allowing Robert Guerrero to take the lead, fight the fight at his pace. He was landing big shots, and Andre Berto tried to mount an attack late, but it was too little, too late, and that's why Robert Guerrero won that fight. So I think the same thing with Carl Froch. Carl Froch, he fought through the whole duration. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like Kessler, the spots he tried to pick up the pace and his activity level and his aggression and his offense was actually after he was already in the hole. He was already behind drastically. So if he would have made some of those beginning rounds a little bit closer, then it might be something different. Another thing is Kessler, you know you're in your opponent's backyard. You know you're in the UK, which Carl Froch represents. So you need to take that into consideration that you're in someone else's hometown. So obviously you're going to have defining rounds where you're clearly beating the person, especially when you're in their hometown. And not even just to mention that, especially when he's a title holder. So to dethrone a champion, everyone knows you usually have to win more convincingly. So overall, I seen Kessler. I don't think he needs to retire based on that performance. I don't think it was a shitty performance or anything. But I just think he was a little bit too inactive. He should have used more offense. It looked like he improved his defense. I think Andre Ward also stated that throughout the fight. But again, you're in someone else's backyard and he's the champion. You're going to have to land more significant shots, take a bigger risk, because that's what Carl Froch was doing pretty much through the entire fight. He was taking risks. He was relying on his chin. He was relying on his offense. And, I mean, realistically, that's what it was. I think Carl Froch just went in there with the attitude that I'm a warrior. I can't be denied. I'm not going to lose to this guy again. And he really showed that. He showed heart. He showed fierce determination. He never, even when it appeared he was hurt, he sucked it up and rallied and fired back. So props to Carl Froch. I don't think he beat Andre Ward. I still think he's too sloppy, and I think a precise puncher like Andre Ward, a skilled fighter like Andre Ward, I think he still beats him. But if they made the rematch, I wouldn't be mad at it, because I mean the dude he deserves it. I mean, who else at 168 deserves a rematch with Andre Ward? You know what I mean? So I would definitely give Carl Froch an opportunity to have that rematch. I think it could be big business, especially if Andre Ward is willing, as the champion, to go over to England. That's a whole different market. Or if Carl Froch has a strong enough fan base where they'll travel to the States and do something in Vegas, like Ricky Hatton. He had a whole bunch of fans that came out to see him fight Floyd Mayweather. So, Carl Froch, again, he's a warrior. Kessler, he's a warrior. But I give Carl Froch a lot of props for just being a fighter who took a loss and it affected him, and he came back stronger. And again, he just came back with a relentless attitude, like I can't be denied. Both fighters landed some brutal shots, good action. There was a little bit of biased commentary at the very beginning, as far as HBO. It seemed like they were a little anti Carl Froch early on. Not really Andre Ward, but the other two. Um, I don't know. It just sounded like they were pro Mikkel Kessler, because when they were mentioning Froch, they were like, "Oh, the crowd's going wild," and that punch was partially blocked by Kessler. Like, of course they're gonna go wild. He's in his hometown. It just seemed a little bit biased. That's just my opinion. Again, hell of a fight. Both warriors. And for some of you boxing fans, I think you guys really need to sharpen your boxing skills. The ones who say this fighter ran or this fighter's boring and stuff like that. I learned to appreciate all styles. This, by no stretch of the means, was a nice and tidy technical fight at all, but I still enjoyed it. So, I mean, I just feel privileged that I can appreciate both sides. I had a lot of fun with this fight, but I can also enjoy a masterful like performance where someone shows their sharpshooting or their technical ability as well. So I just like boxing as a whole. I hope we continue to have a mixture of fights just like we have had. And what's next for Carl Froch? Like I said, I think this performance warrants an Andre Ward rematch if Andre Ward wants to keep fighting at 168 back from rehab. And I don't think he would move straight up to 175 after rehab. So I think this is the only realistic rematch that makes sense. The only other opponent at 168 that I could really think of is Bika, and I think that's Andre Ward's mandatory. But based on Bika's last performance and Froch's, I would say Froch had a way more spirited performance, and he has a monstrous chin. So I'd rather see Carl Froch versus Andre Ward rematch over a Bika rematch. They're also talking about Bernard Hopkins meeting Carl Froch at a catchweight. I would definitely watch this too. And some people don't like the idea of this, but I mean, I do. Especially if Hopkins is willing to go to London. He's willing to meet him at a catchweight instead of 175. I think that's a good look. That's an opportunity for Carl Froch to fight a legendary fighter in his resume. If they do fight at 175, it's an opportunity for him to get a title in another division. Bernard Hopkins he's almost 50 years old, so it would be an interesting fight because Carl Froch has a chin, and he's not the type of fighter that will back down or you have to force him down. So I would be anxious to see how Bernard Hopkins, how skillful he really is against someone who's has a chin and is not going to give up at all. So I'm okay with that fight. I don't know about some of you guys. The only other person at 168 or around there that I'm hearing anything about is Andre Dirrell, and I was looking forward to seeing a lot of Dirrell, but he's just too inactive. He's far too inactive. Who knows what he's even looking like? I mean, I don't even know when the last time he's fought. So to me, he's irrelevant right now. So let me know what you guys think. If you watched the Kessler Froch fight, what do you guys think? Did the right man win? I definitely think the right person did win. Froch, busier fighter, and he fought like a champion in the championship rounds. When he was hurt, he sucked it up. Whatever it was, he fought like a champion. True warrior. Let me know what you guys think. As always, hate, comment, or subscribe. Till next video, it's Ego signing off.